Hello, this is Abram Berkemeyer and Tyler Hafford from Penobscot Financial Advisors, and this is Financial Discretion Advised. Today, on episode 2, we'll be discussing the advantages of working with a financial advisor that works as part of a team.
Yeah.
And Tyler, I know you started out as a kind of like a solo practice, as your own advisor, working with all of your clients and handling everything for all of them at all times. Why don't you kind of get into the advantages and disadvantages of that?
Yeah, no, perfect time for this discussion too. We're live from, live right now if you're listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, we're live.
Yeah,
You're live while you're
I'm
listening.
pretty sure no one's listening to this. Live from Migas.
Migas. It's pronounced Migas.
Migas?
Migas.
Migas.
Migas Lodge.
We should get that right for any sponsorships. Migas Lodge and Sebago Lake. Awesome PFA Palooza, our team kind of getaway.
Yeah.
So great to kind of have this discussion. Yeah. So I started in, as my own advisor, as a solo advisor, getting clients. It's funny, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get new clients, and then a lot of time of trying to make sure I converted a lot of the people I met with. And, creating a portfolio for them was just kind of a back burner thing, right? I had to get the money through the door, and then I'd be like, oh, now I'm going to invest it. What do I put it in?
Right.
The Wirehouse had kind of cookie cutter models that I could invest in. I ended up needing to reach out, and there's a portfolio manager there, another advisor. He was running his own book, but he would allow me to use his portfolios. I almost gravitated to needing some other help, right? In doing a good job for clients. And if you're out there looking for someone who's just not working in a team, they are a solo advisor, it is impossible to be an expert at everything.
Right.
So, I think that the team approach is fantastic for anyone who wants a comprehensive plan, someone who can just dedicate time. Like we'll talk to Sam today, the portfolio administrator, but he has all day to build out solutions for folks.
Right. I don't think I've traded a client account since I started working for the company.
Seriously. And, and we have Julie who can take care of the paperwork and the office stuff, and Hannah's running operations and now most of the company. So, we have all these things. I think it's important if you're going to find someone to help you with your finances to find a team of people that are going to do it. And you started in this team, and it kind of allowed you to build out your career. But I know that you kind of point to that when you talk about how you became an expert in planning.
Yeah. I mean, I really couldn't spend all the time that I do to be such a good financial planner. No pushback on that? Okay, good. Yeah. I'm just going to keep knocking my own boots here. Really great financial planner. Spend a lot of time being able to do the research and get into the client situations.
Right.
And, if I had to spend the other half of my day trading all of my client accounts, then that's going to suck up a lot of time that I'm not explaining things to clients, such as Social Security decisions. I can spend a lot more time being thorough, making sure that they're absorbing the information, because I've got other people that are supporting me, and I am ultimately, the lead for whichever client I'm working with and how they're engaging the company. So, there's a huge, big support system behind us. And I do think that teamwork approach is really vital when you're looking to work with a financial advisor. Before we get some of our team members in here, I do want to kind of just elaborate on how we're set up in comparison to how some other firms are set up. So, the kind of the thing you were explaining in the beginning was you could have an advisor that's a solo shop. He does all of his financial plans for all of his clients. He invests all the money for them. He's responsible for all the paperwork and onboarding process, and it's a lot of time that person has to do, not necessarily working on financial plan or selecting investments.
Yeah, you don't focus on it. You don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, you get pulled in every different direction.
Cannot dedicate the time necessary to putting thoughtful things together for people.
Right.
You're really getting a cookie cutter experience when you do that, right?
Right. Because you got to streamline it if you're by yourself.
Right. And there's just not enough hours in the day to do it. And to be honest, like we talk about, you just can't be an expert at everything, and you're trying to build out solutions for folks, and you may not be the top-notch estate kind of, financial advisor, and that part of the plan just will will lose some luster because you're focusing on doing paperwork or something like that.
And it really is. We work as a team within our firm, but also our job as advisors is to put together our clients' teams, which are working with their tax attorneys and their lawyers for their legal documents and insurance agents for things like long-term care and life insurance, and making sure that everything's fluid and we're accomplishing the recommendations from a plan. But getting back to our company and how we're set up. I know you're the head of the marketing committee, so we do work in committees. Well, we got marketing committee, operations committee, financial planning committee, investment committee. So why don't you talk a little bit about your role as the head of the marketing committee and what you guys do and how that helps fold into the business?
Yeah, I think when they were picking the head of the marketing committee, they were essentially just like, he's not good at anything, so why don't we just have him do marketing?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we picked you for the podcast. You just sit here and talk, so.
Head up marketing for the firm. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're just really trying to get PFA name out there, right? And get them in front of people as many different ways as possible. Using different medias, this podcast is a great kind of way for us to get our vision of how this should be done out to people.
Sure.
And marketing is coming down to that. Plus we have some niches that our company works in that we kind of focus on right now and want to be kind of a resource for them. So.
And I gotta say, you're doing a great job so far, because we are a smaller company, and marketing's something that smaller companies can tend to overlook, because marketing can be expensive, marketing can be time consuming.
Right.
But where you're able to focus as kind of leading the committee and managing that, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, so. I think the only downside or bad move I've had is asking you to host this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of took over the thing, and a bit of a control freak, but you don't do any work, so it's got its plus and minuses. Well, that's great. Since you clearly don't care about my life, I'll just hop into what I do and what committee I head. But I lead the financial planning committee within the firm that essentially took place right after I got my certified financial planner certificate, which we talked about a little bit on the last podcast episode that everybody should go check out and get our viewership up. So we
everyone can get some download, share, like it.
Yeah. The more people we get out there, then the more likely we are to get ads, and then we can get some more revenue. And once again, I'm taking over marketing right now. We just, we're exploding.
Yeah.
So
I don't have to do a thing. Kind of like what I do in the financial planning committee.
Right. Thank you for bringing it back to the topic.
You're running.
So really at the financial planning committee, we do two main things. One is make sure that we're staying up to date on all the technologies that we have and tools that we have available to us, so we can make sure that we're using the best planning software out there for our clients, and where we look at that in comparison to other types of planning software, and we make the analysis of, say, hey, this software is really a lot more goals based, that orientates more towards how we want to work with our clients. We are a goals-based firm, so we gravitate towards that one, but making sure that if another company's out there that might be putting out better analysis or is able to give us some better market assumptions, then that might be something that we'll reevaluate every now and then. And so we do that at the financial planning committee. And then the other big thing that we do is case studies, and we look at client scenarios. So working as part of a team, each advisor definitely has the opportunity to go, hey, Tyler, I know you don't know the answer to this, but what's your opinion?
Yeah.
I'd probably ask Jim or Craig for a planning situation, but
yeah.
So, we bring that up at financial planning committee, so that way we can get every advisor's take on a situation.
Yeah.
We make a recommendation. Does everybody else think that that's appropriate? If it's something that we handle a little bit less, and maybe Jim handles a scenario that we have a client that we're working with a little bit more, so he's able to provide some insight there, and those are the big main purposes of the financial planning committee. Just really utilizing everybody's knowledge within the company.
Yeah, it allows everyone to kind of branch out and find something, one, that they're interested in, and it allows them to kind of research it, bring it back to the group, and allows us as financial planners sitting down with clients to have just a wealth of resources to solve any type of issue.
Like you got one of us really good at student loans, and there's a lot of complex things that go on with public versus private and different programs and repayment plans, and it's a lot for any one advisor to get a very firm grasp on, but
Right.
when you're able to talk with other advisors, you can work through situations and remember things that you might have forgotten otherwise.
Yeah, and allows advisor to kind of focus on that, and someone else can focus on tax efficiency strategies. Yeah, so I think we should kind of talk to the team and introduce them to you guys and anyone listening, and get their take on what this whole team thing should look like.
Joining us first on the podcast today is Jim Bradley, founder of the company and chief investment officer. And Tyler, you've got a question for Jim?
Starting Penobscot Financial Advisors, you had this decision to make, and you obviously said having a team of people was the better way to do this.
Oh, by the way, Jim, we're talking about teamwork today.
Yeah.
That's a good topic.
So, what led you to say, I want to do this with a team, and kind of take that approach? And do you think it was all because you just kind of felt lazy?
While that was probably part of it, I think that at the end of the day, it's kind of funny. You sit and you think about how do you deliver a service to your clients that can be done better, and at the end of the day, it becomes pretty simple. You realize that you're not the one person that can bring them everything that they need necessarily, and that adding new points of view, new expertises, new people, new
young blood,
and younger blood certainly makes a lot of sense. And that's not just being flip, is it, Abram? Because the even though that's something you're good at, the fact of the matter is, if I'm a 65, 70-year-old person and I'm sitting down with somebody who themselves is 50, 60 years old, and thinking to myself, gosh, when I'm 85 years old, is that around when that person's going to be retiring? Is that when I want to be going out shopping for somebody new? It's really good to have a little bit of depth to your bench.
Sure.
And plus it gets lonely when you're there alone. So.
Yeah. Nice. So then my question for you was, Tyler and I already kind of talked to our audience about our roles as leading the financial planning committee and the marketing committee. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do leading the investment committee? And we haven't talked to Sam yet, so if you want to take over a lot of, you say you do what he does, and
well, even taking a step back from that, if I can, the whole idea of committees and wrangling the expertise and focusing the specializations in that kind of way wasn't my idea. It was the idea of Craig Junkus, and so another good reason to have younger, smarter people working on the team with you. But so on the investment committee, what I do is, as the chief investment advisor, I don't think you gave me my full job title there.
You might want to fix that, Abram. He does pay you.
I know, but we do also try to knock down our guests a little bit. Don't want to too mighty a horse at the podcast. You're our guest, Jim. We'll call you what we want to call you.
I was getting a bigger head there. As the chief investment officer, basically, I'm the person who kind of tries to organize our thoughts around how we develop and execute investment strategies for our clients. I take it upon myself to look at the overall asset allocation, which is just basically how we're going to break up a portfolio between stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities, cash, and that type of thing. More than anything else, I think try to organize our way of thinking. Well, what I don't do is make all of the decisions, and that's why we have a committee. And as you guys know, one of the things we've been trying to do lately is one of the not so great things about our team is that we really kind of get along well and like each other. So
right, we pull our punches a little too much.
We pull our punches perhaps too much, and so we've been trying to get a little bit better at speaking our minds and actively trying to find areas of maybe not all out disagreement, but counterpoints and other ways of thinking.
And everybody listening, we did move our investment committee meetings from the conference room to the Octagon. So,
and so Jim, I think it's interesting, and you kind of hit it. But when you started kind of PFA and Penobscot Financial Advisors, you took what you felt like you were the strongest at in your previous practice when you're doing it kind of by yourself. what do you think the limitations of not working with a team are
Right.
for someone who's looking for a financial advisor?
Right. Anybody who's ever tried to do something as really complex as managing the financial lives of hundreds of households can tell you that there's very quickly limitations to what you can do on your own. And and like we mentioned before, I mean, there's also concerns that are you going to be the resource that your clients want you to be? So it was, I'd say, maybe about obviously starting into the business. I was a bit of a lone wolf, as were you, starting out, Tyler. Kind of a small fish in a big pond with a big firm.
Yep.
That really didn't promote teamwork. It was a very siloed organization. You didn't stand anything to benefit from sending somebody down the hall to work
Right.
with one of your coworkers. And I pretty quickly saw that as being not the way I wanted to do it, but it takes a little while from that to go from that's a good idea to actually finding a good way to actually make it happen. I'd say 15, 20 years ago, I was writing sketches on the back of napkins as to what I think a good team would look like. And here we are 10 or 15 years later, and we've got a team that looks just like that.
Tall, dark, brown hair.
Well,
No hair.
And as we continue to grow, I mean, the question is, how do we do so in such a way that lends itself to our continuing to be able to bring diverse opinions and diverse specialties to the team, and to continue to grow in that direction. I think there's actually kind of maybe you build up a lot more effectiveness as you grow, and you build up the ability to share a much broader range of expertises, and but probably that crests at some time. I've seen it happen with a lot of other firms where they keep on growing and they get better and better, and then after they hit a certain level of growth, they just become another big firm that isn't necessarily all paddling in the same direction,
Right.
and starts to get limited there. So that becomes the bigger challenge, I guess, as we continue to grow, is how do we continue to kind of keep this spirit that we've developed as a team. And I'm sure a part of it will be making sure that the people that we hire are all just as wacky as you guys are.
So what I'm hearing is about 60% laziness.
You're okay, yeah.
Okay.
The ultimate percentage. Great.
Awesome.
Well, Jim, it was really good having you on. I'm sure we'll have you on for a full-length podcast in the future.
I really hope to be able to do that at some
Excellent.
point.
Well,
Thank
you
guys
stay
for
in our
letting
good
me
graces, and
I appreciate you letting me join you.
yeah, anytime. All right, we've got Hannah Tackett joining us. And Hannah, why don't you just start by telling everybody a little bit about what you do for the company?
I am the Chief Operations Officer and Chief Compliance Officer at Penobscot Financial Advisors, and my workload spans a lot of different things. Typically, I end up identifying efficiencies, looking at technology, helping write procedure, overseeing the firm to ensure that we're remaining compliant.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
Let's get into compliance.
Yeah,
That sounds
no,
like a
I
great
think
topic.
she actually spends 99% of the day just correcting things that I've done wrong.
Right, yeah. All those waivers of everything.
Right.
Yeah. Signing off.
Yeah, and I really do love compliance. I don't think that's a thing that you hear a lot about, but I see compliance as an opportunity to help protect our clients and safeguard them and ensure that we're acting in their best interests. So while it's usually not the best topic to talk about, it is something I'm very passionate about.
And Hannah, you're kind of the ringleader, I think, of PFA. Anytime we're trying to do something, you're kind of organizing it, you're running the staff meetings. I know it probably feels like herding cats most of the time, but why do you think it's important to have that type of person in the team? Because I think it's so central to what we do to have someone to kind of push us along in directions that we need to go as a firm. I think you're definitely instrumental in that.
Yeah, I feel that there's a lot of power behind having a team working together. I think clarity around goals and vision is central to getting anywhere, and I'm a person that really looks to continuously improve myself and those around me and the company. And I'm one of 5 kids. I'm the 4th, so I'm in the middle of my family pack, and I've been herding cats for a really long time with my siblings, and it's something that I really enjoy, seeing people operate at their maximum capacity and watching others grow and develop and thrive. And it's been awesome to personally grow a lot in this company. This January I'll hit 7 years with Penobscot, and thinking about where I started then and where I am now, it really is an environment that cultivates growth in individuals, and as a team seeing the benefits of everyone slowly figuring out a path for themselves in their career.
Yep. And she loves compliance so much she married an attorney.
Yes.
A securities attorney.
Was he weirded out when you made him read the home compliance manual, or was he okay with that?
Oh, he runs the compliance program of our household. I certainly take my CCO hat off at home and my COO hat, and he runs those. He creates the procedures and the grocery lists and the daycare drop-off timing and such.
Sure.
I mean, if you were doing operations 24/7, that'd be just too much.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, really glad to have you on. Hopefully we'll get you on for a full episode later in the year or next year, or this podcast will go on into perpetuity, so at any point in the future. If there's anything you want to say to our audience before you go?
Thanks for listening. We're really excited to bring you guys some knowledge about finance, about us, and really excited to see where this whole podcasting thing goes.
Yeah, and just so everybody listening knows, Hannah's been also instrumental in getting the podcast up and going, because that's a lot of operations that we less tech-savvy financial advisors understand. So thanks to Hannah for that.
Yes.
No problem.
All right, now we got Craig Jonkis, CEO of the company, on with us, and he's also going to talk about teamwork.
Yeah, Craig, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Jim, and you kind of had this vision going forward of building this company. You guys didn't necessarily need to round out a team like you did. You seem to think that was important. Why did that become a focal point for you, and how much of it do you think it is because of just laziness on your part?
I think a significant portion of it is that I want to be on the golf course every now and then. So that is part of it. But definitely, I think most of it came down to I started my career. I was working closely with Jim, and we always called ourselves a team. Like, we'd sit in the same room, we'd get around a conference room, we'd share ideas, best practices, things like that. But then we'd go out and we'd compete for the same group of clients, and we weren't really helping each other. And then at the end of the day, it was like I had certain things that I loved doing and that I was good at. Jim had certain things he loved doing and was good at.
Sure.
Everybody had their own skills and things that they loved doing. And you can't do everything when you're a financial advisor for your clients and do it really well. Right. It's like, when you're a financial advisor, you do financial planning, you do investments, you pick stocks, you do marketing, you do business ownership, you do management. And one human being can't do all those things and just be really good at it.
And somehow you managed to get rid of doing all of those things. So what is your day like?
I guess most of my day these days is having conversations with new prospective clients, talking with them about what we do, how good our team is, making sure that it's a good fit between us and the client, and making sure that the relationships we have are mutually beneficial. Do have some clients that I continue to work with on a day-to-day basis, which I also love doing. But fortunately, been able to kind of get my way out of some of the things I wasn't passionate about, like the investment management process, and getting more into the things I really like doing.
Sure.
I got to tell you, all the time on the golf course isn't helping Craig. So, Aaron, if you can pick up a little bit more slack, we can get back out there. That'd be
I seem to remember a tournament at Waterville where we entered a par 3 contest together, Tyler.
Craig, you're a guest on our show. Yeah, I can remember that.
Okay,
Well,
fair enough.
we want to thank you for this weekend. This is fantastic. Additionally, it's my anniversary weekend, so if you talk to my wife, you can let her know I organized all of it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that at all, but I'm glad that nice romantic place for the two of you.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely get you back on here for a full episode at some point, or, you know, somebody that you want to delegate to join the show in your place.
Right on. You guys are doing great with this podcast, so I'm happy you're doing it.
It's going to be the best one yet. You know, there's only 2 episodes, so it's a pretty low bar. But now we're joined by James Kane. He's the newest member of Team PFA. And James, just so you know, topic du jour is teamwork.
Yep.
Great.
And since obviously you're very new,
Yeah.
what, like 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2.5
weeks. Yeah. All right.
So I have some pretty important questions to ask you. You're just kind of starting out with us. You came on this team retreat with us.
Mm-hmm.
Which member of the team do you not like the most?
Which member of the team? After the tasks that we were given today, I would say right now Abram.
Yeah.
All right. Shots at the
Definitely a
host.
lot of room for improvement
That
there.
was the right answer. We'll keep him. He can continue
Yeah,
to
I
work.
thought
for
we
us.
had a
Yeah,
rule
that
no
was
shots at the host,
Yeah.
but you know.
Well,
So-
you know, I'm new, so.
So James, what do you do at PFA?
So I'm a portfolio administrator, so I'm basically taking up the slack that Sam is now missing from taking on his new role as a portfolio management associate.
So essentially everything Sam doesn't want to do anymore.
Basically,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
He must have got that page out of Craig's book.
Yeah. Yeah, and for the people listening, actually James coming on is huge for us in our team because
Yeah.
James is doing a lot of things that allows us to get a ton of information in front of the clients that
Right.
we just couldn't before.
And honestly, like I've done Sam's job before we hired Sam,
Yeah.
and like it's a lot of work. You know, our firm, as far as what you guys do, was definitely like the check engine light was on, needed to replace the oil,
Yeah.
get some new blood, and
Yeah.
you know, take a little bit off of that plate and kind of you know a little more delegation. So
And James, you haven't ran away yet.
Mhm.
So what's your experience working in the team? I mean, it's kind of probably your first experience in this type of setting.
Yeah, I mean, from day one, I really felt that full team aspect.
Good.
yeah.
You know, I'm here after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
So
awesome
if you had to
streaks.
grade us on 1 to 10
And-
cult-like status, 10 being we are a cult, 1 being we're less of a cult.
That's kind of vague. If you could give me some examples of cults that you know I can use as.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So
think
this
he's,
is.
I
I can see why.
he's still fresh enough where he's being nice.
Yeah. So
And,
I can see why he doesn't like Abram.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I think we're good here,
Yeah.
and
Thanks,
I'm
James.
certainly tired of getting beat up on during this segment of the podcast. But we'll definitely have you on again at some point in the future as your role and your work gets a little bit more fleshed out, and then I'll write down all of my notes about you that I can make some personal attacks on.
Perfect.
Great. Sounds good.
Right.
Thanks,
Get
guys.
a
Thanks.
drink, James.
Yep.
All right, we ditched Tyler, and now we got Julie Willett here. She's our client relations specialist. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do? And topic of today is teamwork. So if you want to loop that in on how you work with individuals within the firm, whether it's advisors or operations, just spill the beans. Tell us
Okay.
everything you do.
All right. So, like Abram said, I'm the client relations specialist here at PFA, and so I do a handful of things. For the most part, I'm assisting our advisors here at the firm, assisting them with transactions. So, if clients are opening new accounts or doing rollovers or transfers, I help out with that. I do a lot of scheduling as well.
And we couldn't thank you enough, like taking that off our plate. I did some of that starting out in early
Yep,
on.
so you
and-
know.
Yeah, and really good to delegate.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a busy job, but I certainly enjoy it. Review scheduling, like I said, and answering the phones. So I'm kind of the primary person, so anyone calling in, they're going to get me first.
Yeah. Any calls that stick out?
What, good or
Good
bad
or bad?
ones?
Any that stick out?
Oh gosh. I guess nothing's really coming to mind.
Julie's just very polite, guys. So.
Well, I told Abram, I said I'm not very good on the spot,
Yeah.
so.
We'll loop back on that in a later podcast, and we'll just have horror stories.
Horror stories.
And, yeah, just like the weirdest people that walk through the door in Bangor, and everybody that doesn't know, Julie works out of our Bangor office. And,
Yes. Actually, as we're kind of chatting now, I'm remembering we get a lot of people who call in who don't necessarily know what we do. So I think there was one person I remember calling in. She was an elderly lady, and she was wondering if she was, I think, something to do with bankruptcy and debt consolidation. I'm wondering if we do that, which, we can help clients out with stuff like that. But it is kind of interesting, people that call in and they really have no idea, could we do mortgages? Well, not entirely. We can kind of, push people, or not push people, but we can direct them in certain places.
Yeah,
but
lightly guide.
Lightly guide, yeah, exactly.
Anything else you really want to add before Tyler jumps in here?
Oh, is he gonna come in now?
Yeah,
he's
all
here.
Right. Well, we're mid podcast, Tyler. I know you were taking a break in between, but Julie's really got to get up, going to her massage soon. So if you want to ask Julie anything on the spot.
No, I think it makes a ton of sense. Julie is another person who spends her entire day fixing things that I mess up. So her doing this in the podcast with me not being here kind of fits in the mold.
Yeah.
I prefer you to kind of be out of the picture for the most part. You're right.
Yeah, things are more efficient when I'm just at home, not doing anything.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Julie.
Absolutely.
Get to your massage. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
We're now joined by Sam Chaplin. He is the company's he's got a new title. He was a portfolio administrator. Now he's the
Associate Portfolio Manager.
Thank you. And what do you do? How do you contribute to the team? Do you contribute to the team?
I like to think that I make a minor contribution by, helping you guys not have to do all the hard work, so that's good.
Yeah.
We just covered how James essentially does everything you don't like doing.
Oh, that's absolutely a fact, yeah.
So it's left you with doing what? And I send Sam pretty regularly stock ideas. And
I don't see any of those come up in the investment committee.
Sam, we talked about, I ran my own practice at one point. Portfolio management came at the very last part of my list when I was working with clients because I was just so focused on everything else, right? What do you think allows this team network to work, the fact that we have someone dedicated to doing what you do?
Well, I think it's just nice in general having the team approach where everybody can kind of do what they specialize in and also things that they enjoy, right? So for me, I enjoy doing that part of the work, doing the trading and research and reporting. You guys might not like that so much. It comes fairly easy to me, where your jobs sound much harder to me, managing relationships and talking people through difficult times.
Sure.
I'm happy to hang out in the back office and, plug away on the computer.
And your background was kind of in this world, right? What did you do before?
Yeah. So since I've been in professional life, I worked at a bank for a bit just as a teller. Then I did some accounting and administration for hedge funds.
Who'd you tell her?
You don't ask, don't tell her. So I was doing administration for hedge funds, just a lot of accounting and reporting. So kind of came on to Penobscot to help them get their administration up to speed with the client portal and reporting platform, and got into the trading for the first time there. And been working up the ranks. Now hired James here to take over that stuff I don't want to do, and now doing a little more research and trying to contribute more to the investment committee.
Nice. What do you do in the investment committee? If you could just elaborate for the audience that are very much involved and intrigued in our conversation today.
So for the investment committee, I kind of lead the meetings for the most part. Me and Jim have a conversation prior to each meeting, things we want to go out.
Batman and Robin?
Yeah, I'm Batman.
Oh.
Batman, I am the Batman.
Jim is definitely going to have to get back before we end.
I don't wear tights, so. So outside of that, I do some communications with the fund providers and kind of act as the liaison to kind of the managers that we work with, and then also run our types of screeners and scorecards and evaluate the investments in our portfolios and look for new ones that provide value opportunities. And just kind of make sure to monitor portfolio risk and other stuff that will put you to sleep.
The big thing for anyone listening is that Hannah essentially runs the business, right? It kind of keeps everyone on track doing these things.
Yeah.
Sam does all of the important stuff, and the rest of us really just don't do anything.
Right. Yeah.
I
The
think
rest
we're
of
all
us took a page out of Craig's book.
Right, yeah, we're all
Yeah.
looking at you, Abram. But,
The operations people are the adults in the room, and we're really just.
We're all just pretty faces.
Yeah.
but we want to thank you for coming on, Sam. We'll probably pull you in for a full episode and really pick the brain that is Sam Chaplin.
Yeah.
But,
And
Batman.
Yeah, and check out me and Jim's Much Better podcast on the quarterly commentary coming out soon.
All right.
I do
let's-
recall we have a higher budget, we've got better equipment,
Yeah.
and I think you guys said put it like half an episode?
Oh no, what are you guys doing? 15 minutes or something like
I'll
that?
be shocked if this makes it into the actual episode.
No, nothing
Thanks,
is
Sam.
nothing is worth.
Yeah, we're gonna cut this whole thing,
Yeah.
except for the fact when you said you are Batman.
What do you do here? Cut to I am the Batman. That's all I get.
Awesome.
Well, as you can all tell, the podcast level has deteriorated in quality.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you were expecting.
But we're gonna Sam has got our last interview for today. You've met the whole company, you've met the whole team. Sam, if you had to pick, your favorite person to work with, because we do work in teams.
Yeah, and there's a $50 bill next to you.
Is there? Yeah, we'll start the bidding at $50.
Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, download, like, tell your friends. I promise we won't have Sam on all that much. Thanks for listening.
The foregoing content reflects the opinions of Penobscot Financial Advisors and is subject to change at any time without notice. Content provided herein is for informational purposes only and should not be used or construed as investment advice or a recommendation regarding the purchase or sale of any security. There is no guarantee that the statements, opinions, or forecasts provided herein will prove to be correct. Thank you.